Let's
All
go.
right. So first and foremost, we're gonna review last week, and unfortunately, Jake, you are week's 3 biggest loser. So this is not a punishment, but it is your responsibility to kill those weaker brain cells.
I vote that he does the second one for his birthday yesterday.
Happy
That
birthday!
feels like a punishment, right? I'm sorry.
Speak
I may
up.
have enjoyed that too much.
Oh boy.
All right. Are you doing a second one for your birthday, or you just doing the one to kill those weaker brain cells for losing?
No, I did plenty of other stuff over the last 2 days of my birthday. I'm good now.
All right. Any final thoughts or words about your choice last week? Any thoughts you want to throw in?
Well, it was an impulse buy. I didn't do any research. I didn't do any, it was more of I like the company buy. So I guess that's what I get for the short run. I'm not going to discount it out for the long run, though. I think it still has potential for the end of the 52-week competition here. So we'll see what happens.
All right. I love the false confidence.
Yeah.
That's what that liquid was for, right?
Absolutely.
That's mine. That's mine. It's about the long haul. On this one, it's down now, but it'll be back up. It'll come through.
Yeah.
This week's
All
choice,
right.
I don't much.
All right. We're gonna move right along, and we're gonna start talking about this week's stock choices. Or my stock pick this week overall is called the YieldMax Universe Fund Option Income ETFs. Okay. Did you guys want to learn more? So
Is there any pivots that were particularly interesting that you shared before or no?
Yeah, so the most interesting part is like it's an ETF, so it invests in a bunch of different stocks. But this particular YieldMax ETF invests in other ETFs that the YieldMax company owns, and the other YieldMax ETFs that it owns like focuses on options trading on one particular stock. Okay. So like you take like a fancy prominent expensive stock like Tesla or NVIDIA, and what YieldMax does is they create an ETF where a bunch of people dump money into this one fund, and they're like, hey, we're just going to do options trading. And options trading is something where they like buy contracts where they have certain deadlines to either buy or sell the stock, and then they get a percentage of that if they fulfill or don't fulfill their obligations or things like that. So it's a mix of buying or shorting a stock. It's a mix of an increase of like deadlines and things like that. And it's their individual like YieldMax ETFs focus on that. And this ETF that I invested in invests in like does options trading on all of their other ETFs. And the fun thing about this is like this ETF pays a monthly dividend. So the monthly dividend is like 62 cents a share. Some things that we learned this week that me and Michael experienced. I don't know if you or Faith or you and David experienced this. In that, like when buying shares with real money, not all stocks are available for fractional trading. I know David bought NVIDIA, which is eligible for fractional trading, but I don't recall off the top of my head what Faith got.
I did Palantir Technologies, but I don't.
Did you get fractional shares?
I don't recall, and I don't have it pulled up. I think so.
I believe she did.
Okay. So like for me, when I was executing this trade, it said, hey, you can get 4 shares or you can get 5 shares. So you can spend $88, or you can spend $102.55, but you can't get fractional shares for this ETF. And Michael experienced a similar thing, where not all stocks are eligible for fractional shares. Now, for the purposes of this podcast, we're gonna keep using our exact $100 and just assuming that every stock that we discuss for this podcast is eligible for fractional shares, but in real life, that is not the case.
Yes, I did buy fractional shares.
You did, okay. Me and Michael in real life did not get fractional shares, but for the purposes of this podcast, we adjusted so that it reflects fractional shares. But again, this pays a monthly dividend, and my thought process behind that was Jacob. His strategy for winning is like, hey, I want high yield dividends, which is awesome. And he's been going with some stable stocks that provide high yield dividends. But now that I'm the Excel junkie, not because I enjoy it, but just for tracking purposes, I was looking into, well, when is Jacob gonna get paid dividends? And like the only concrete one that I found that Jacob is gonna get paid is gonna be in August. David and Mike are going to be the first ones to be paid a dividend at the end of June, followed by me at the end of June. For that Rick hospitality group. And then Michael and David are getting paid a dividend for NVIDIA, and then Michael's going to get paid another dividend for his booking stock. But Jacob doesn't get paid any stocks, despite them being like higher dividend stocks, until August concretely. He might have one pop up here in June. It might be September. It might be July. It depends. There was only so much information. And so until they announce that they're paying the dividend, like the only concrete thing that I can say Jacob has coming for dividends is August. And I'm like, well, that's dumb of Jacob. How do I get paid a dividend now? And it's this ETF that pays a dividend every month. Yeah.
It's actually a really cool find, buddy.
And so, yeah, YMAX has a bunch of ETFs. All of their ETFs pay monthly dividends, but they're extremely risky funds. And if you look at the screen, it says like the inception date for the one that I invested in, it IPO'd on January 16th, 2024. So there's not a lot of historical data for this. But I find that the company opens and closes these ETFs for like 1 to 3 years, where they'll open this up, and I bet by January 16th, 2027, this YMAX, this YMAX is no longer going to exist by 2027. So it's not a long-term one, but it's going to help me win this podcast.
It's going to help you win this podcast.
Yeah, it may not help me win next week, but I feel like if this stock price goes down by $2, I'm going to get paid $2 in July, no matter what. I might be eligible for the June stock. I invested real money in this one, so I'll find out if I get paid in June, but I'll for sure get paid a dividend in July.
Okay.
All right. All right, moving on past me.
Who's up, Jake?
Yeah,
There
Jacob
we
is
go.
up
Ooh.
next.
Oh,
Does that say
On your
sixth
screen
place
now?
overall?
oh,
It sure does, buddy. That is your current overall portfolio with your weeks 1 through 4 picks. The total value of your portfolio is $385.28 from the last time I updated the Excel tracker.
Wow. I am not doing healthy.
You're only down $14.72 for over the past 4 weeks. Out of
Which-
$400, that's not bad.
Right. Still kind of gross. All right, so I'm supposed to talk about what I did this week, right? Is that what I'm doing?
yeah, what you do?
Yeah,
I
it looks
love
like you
stock
picked
ticker.
UTI.
Yeah. Yes, I've never been able to claim about. I've never had a claim of having a UTI before, so I figured this would be the best $100 investment in the world. I cannot claim I've had a UTI. So this was my response to losing this week. I'm kind of throwing strategy out the door, and I'm just flying by the seat of my pants. It's a lot of fun. It worked. It didn't work out for me last time, but let's see what happens. So my UTI is Universal Technical Institute. It is a Arizona-based company, 3,000 employees, founded in 1965. Yada 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 yada. What drew me to this was I did a quick Google search on what was it, like Thursday or Friday or whatever it was, when you sent out the almost conclusive results of me being the loser with my Rumble stock. And I was like, well, what's going to get me, out of that rut? I might as well Google some rising stocks right now. And I Googled what stocks have been doing well in the last, month, 2 months, whatever, and see who's on their way up. Because I'm just hoping to grab onto that bandwagon for a week and not be on the bottom next week. And one of the ones on that list was this UTI. And there was a handful of other ones, but I couldn't get past the UTI moniker. So I'm sticking with my UTI. It doesn't pay any dividends. So again, that flies in the face of my strategy for dividend payments. But it is education based. It's out of the energy sector. It's out of the technology sector. It's I guess my rationale for picking it is kind of diversification of portfolio. The other factor too is this being real money. I looked at my actual stock portfolio and I'm like, I don't have anything in this field, so let's go with the UTI. So that's kind of what factored into all of my, decision making there.
What is the field? Like, what category does this fall into?
University education. So they are a technical institute, and what it says here engages in the provision of transportation and technological training programs. Not technological, sorry, technical training programs.
Okay.
So they have a few different places that it's a technical school. It's stock in a technical school is what it is.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are they a school, or do they just create curriculum for like MATC in Milwaukee?
It operates the following segments: Universal Technical Institute, Concord Career Colleges and Corporate. The Universal Technical Institute segments focuses on the provision of training programs, which include student-paid electives and manufacturer or dealer-sponsored training at certain campuses and dedicated training centers. So it's just, I bought into education. That's it.
Okay.
All right. You got more to say, or are you ready for questions?
You hit me, buddy.
All right. So you said that you were searching that stocks that were on the rise.
Yes.
Do you have any reason, guesses, inclinations, or sources on why this UTI is on the rise?
No, none whatsoever.
No rhyme or reason.
No.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, we've had a driver shortage for the last 5 or 10 years, so I mean, I wouldn't doubt that has something to do with it. But
did you read this part? Like nursing and patient care, diagnostic fields, allied health, dental. Yeah, they do a lot of like continuing education programs. So yeah, that's really cool. So it's useful.
Well, okay, so the market cap is $775 million. It's a profitable company because it has a P/E ratio of $40. That's pretty good. So if it's on the rise and you got in here not too long ago, what do you think this peaks at?
Well, what does it peak at? Let's see. Well, that's the hard question because it's been up and down. It was down, and now it's getting close to where its 52-week high was. And so my expectation is going to get past that mark and make a new 52-week high. I couldn't put a number on it. I have no idea. Like I said, this was more of me not being in the bottom next week. So it was kind of a roll of the dice just to gamble a little bit and see if I could find something to not have me take a shot next week. And we're going to see if it works.
All right, so you're just, this one was like more focused on like how to not lose next week.
And diversification of portfolio. Yes.
And diversification of portfolio. And you think the diversification portfolio is going to help you win 52 weeks?
Potentially, yeah.
Okay.
Because if I'm wrong on the oil sector and what I'm thinking of what's going to happen there and the energy and stuff, maybe education picks me up. Maybe if it makes up the difference on when oil fails, you know what I mean?
Okay.
That's how you diversify.
All right. Well, now I'm going to see if I can dig into your little bit of your personal background a little bit more. Are you ready for this?
Oh boy.
Here we go.
All right. So you took $100 of real money and you invested in shares of a stock of higher education.
Yes.
Are you investing in your own higher education outside of buying stocks in this UTI?
All the time. Yeah.
All right, I think we'll move on to Mike here.
No way.
Yeah. All right, so here's the crazy part. Mike has a very nice overall portfolio, but only because of his first two stock picks so far.
Yeah. Yeah, Mike got lucky, didn't he?
Lucky, smart, right place, right time. I don't know, but like Jacob was down $15, and it looks like you're up $15.
I'm still looking for BHP to come back though. And hopefully, yeah, my current one is down. I think I bought it for $2.18 a share. And yeah, you were right. They only allowed me to buy 45 shares at $98.17. Something
Okay,
like
so that one didn't allow you to do any fractional shares, or at least not through the brokerage that we're all currently using.
Right, the name that we're not using. Yeah.
Okay. All right. But for purposes of this podcast, $100 would have gotten you 45.8716.
Right.
What can you tell us about this week's stock pick?
You know what? I realized one day I was really thirsty, and I actually didn't do as much background on this one as I should have. But it's they do drinks. They do beverages. They do Corona. They do a whole host of beverages, and I thought that would be something good to invest in, especially since it's supposed to be a warm summer. So they haven't had a bad history. It looks like it's a little bit on the low side if you look for the year to date. You know, they are down, and their 52-week average is 3. But you know, I'm hoping in the long run it'll pick back up. You know, it is summer. People are starting to get out there. You know, and then sitting in a bar.
Okay.
But you think about it,
All
people
right.
sit in a bar, holds the stock price in a decent spot. You know. But yeah.
Yeah, I got so many questions about this, buddy. First of all,
Let's go.
this isn't an American company, right?
It's not. It's actually a South American company that merged into Anheuser-Busch, if I can remember right.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
If you give me a second.
Merged into them?
If
Or is an auction?
if I read that right, yeah. This is Ambev, formerly long name is a Brazilian brewing company now merged into Anheuser-Busch InBev. Its name translates, the long name that I didn't say, Beverage Company of the Americas, hence AmBev abbreviation. It was created on July 1st, 1999 with the merger of two breweries, Brahma and Antarctica. The merger was approved and let's see, it's actually headquartered in Sao Paulo, Brazil. One of the largest companies by market capitalization in Brazil and in the Southern Hemisphere.
Okay.
I didn't think it was a bad push. What was I looking for? Let's see. Let's see, its products. AmBev operates in 18 countries. Its products include beers such as Antarctica and Bogota Beer Company, Brahma, Bohemia, Stella Artois, and soft drinks like Garna Antarctica, Soda Antarctica, Sukita, and the innovations of H2OH. The largest PepsiCo bottler outside the United States. It sells and distributes PepsiCo products in Brazil and other Latin American countries. An iced tea and Gatorade by franchise agreement. It's not a small stake down there.
Yeah, so I'm looking at off to the right on my screen right here. It says market cap is 34.36 billion. Jacob's education stock wasn't even worth $1 billion. And mine definitely wasn't. I think mine was like 192 million. So like the market cap, I think your company is worth the most by far. Which is interesting because the individual share is so low compared to the share price of our stock picks. So I did find that interesting.
I almost thought it was a joke. I thought I was investing in a penny share when I first a penny stock.
In a what?
I thought I was investing in a penny stock when I first seen it. You know, I was like, that's the lowest share I've ever come across, you know? And but yeah, I mean, for a 52-week high of $3.23, and I bought it at $2.18. I mean that's not ginormous, but it's, you know,
But
they
it
got
could
a
make a difference.
They got a little bit of a dividend, you know. They got well, okay, I looked that up. So P&E is 11.6. I actually looked up P&E for fun. The price earnings ratio, also known as P&E, is the ratio of a company's share price to the company's earnings per share. The ratio is used for valuing companies and to find out whether they are overvalued or undervalued. Now you guys know.
I thought P&E just meant if the company was profitable or not. And by like how much. So I thought it was like per one share, they make a profit of $11 on average. Not that those two things correlate, but like they figured a way to make the number. That's what I thought P&E was. If the number was positive, that the company was profitable, and that like they'd be profitable like of $11 per one share.
So a quick search here. Generally speaking, the lower the P&E ratio is, the better it is for both the business and potential investors.
John knows now what he's doing wrong now.
No, I still don't. You have a lower P&E and Jacob has a higher P&E, and ETFs don't have a P&E at all.
No, but his UTI had a P&E.
A pretty high P&E.
Oh
man.
All right.
So I have to ask. Hang on, I gotta ask because we've asked this on a lot of other stocks now. So, Michael, since you bought into Ambev, are you going to be buying a lot more Corona and investing your money into the stock that you've purchased?
You know what? I should also invest in some lime businesses. Yes, I will buy some Corona.
I'm not sure. Is Fireball right? Is that where is Fireball? Does it have a stock ticker? Because I think we should probably one of us should be investing in that.
You should find out who owns Fireball.
I don't know if they're a public company. That might be a private company.
Jacob's looking right now.
But Mike, I'd love to get some unfounded speculation from you here. What do you think their most profitable product is from Ambev?
Bud Light. I bet you it'd probably be Corona.
Okay. Did you say that they own like Dos Equis, or what was the other one? There's one other beer that you mentioned that like I'd recognized.
Oh. Here we go. Show more. So, Lafay, a Belgian beer. I probably said that wrong. Corona, Budweiser, Bud Light, Goose Island Brewery, Stella Artois.
Okay, Stella. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Corona is definitely more popular. Did you just say that they own Budweiser?
Yeah, they own Budweiser and Bud Light.
What? Okay.
You know what? Don't
I'm quoting you. It's too late.
AB. Oh.
So Michael.
Yes.
The current month is June, and you decided to invest in Bud Light, yeah?
Well,
are you trying to tell us something?
Well, and this is like the second or third company that he's invested in that isn't based out of America, you know?
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Hey, I invest in America with my daily money, okay?
But you put $100 of real money, because this isn't a paper trade, into this Ambev company. You put $100 of real money into the owners of Bud Light.
I happen to like
the month of June.
I happen to like Bud Light before they made some poor commercial marketing decisions, okay?
Oh, I'm sure you did.
We aren't going to hold that against them. They might like it.
We will.
I do drink a lot of Coors Light though. But no, I enjoy Corona. I enjoy Bud Light. I'm from Wisconsin. We like beer.
Okay. So you
Not
like
this
beer.
water. Anyway,
Do you think their beer products are more profitable than their soft drinks and their non-alcoholic drinks?
I don't know, because you got to realize that they are in business with PepsiCo. So because they sell
They
Pepsi
bottle
beer,
for Pepsi. That is that in business with PepsiCo?
yes.
So, but you also said Gatorade. Isn't Gatorade a Coca-Cola licensed product?
I'm gonna have to go back and like look at what they said.
So in the meantime, in this interim moment here, so Fireball is owned by Sazerac Company, which is owned by William Goldring, and it's a privately held American alcoholic beverage company. Oh no, we can't invest in Fireball.
Okay, just because it's a privately owned company doesn't mean that you can't invest in it. There are tons of private companies that you can invest in. It just can't be through the stock market.
Right.
Okay.
We can't do it by the means of this podcast.
Okay, you guys ready? The largest PepsiCo bottler outside the United States, it sells and distributes PepsiCo products in Brazil and other Latin countries, including Pepsi, Lipton iced tea, and Gatorade by franchise agreement.
Okay.
So
they got some deals bottling for these other beverage companies outside of the United States.
At least selling and distributing. So
Oh, I
Okay,
guess
so
PepsiCo does own Gatorade. Huh. Look at that.
look at that. So where do you think the value is in this company? Do you think it's in their actual physical products? Do you think it's in their agreements with bottling them? Do you think it's like in the brands that they own?
Well, I think it certainly helps. I think it certainly helps that they have agreements for distribution and selling it. I'm sure that really helps. But I do believe a lot of the brands do carry, you know, carry some weight. People
Okay.
like to drink some beer,
All right.
and it's soccer season. No.
Is it?
So yeah, I'm American. I don't follow soccer at all. But you know what? You're investing in Bud Light in the month of June, so of course it makes sense that you know when the soccer season is.
That is pretty. It's pretty coincidental, isn't it?
A lot of things here seem coincidental with you today, buddy.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah. Got a new background for your videos here.
Hey, you like that? I have a new one every time.
Yeah.
I like. I like how yours
Looks
is
nice.
backwards.
Yeah, one day I'll figure it out, I guess.
You could flip it, but then you'd see the back of your head.
Now, next up and finally, we have you, David. Tell us about your choice this week.
Unfortunately, this is one of those cases where when somebody finds something and you look into it, you acknowledge that, yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty good. NVIDIA is coming up on a stock split, which we talked about last week, and they'll be splitting their shares. What's that?
It happened yesterday.
The stock split
Yeah.
happened yesterday? It's awesome.
Yeah. But I recorded all of this data before yesterday, so this is what I got.
That's all right. NVIDIA reached a market cap where they are splitting their stocks. I believe it was a 2-to-1.
10-to-1.
It was a 10-to-1. Jesus. I'm
Yeah.
coming in
So
from
you're
outside.
Yeah, you're going from 0.084 shares to 0.84 shares. You almost have a whole share of NVIDIA.
Almost. And based on the way that NVIDIA has been growing, I do think it's going to be worth it.
Okay. And then just to recap, they do like some microprocessors, some super processors, some GPUs, a lot of hardware that's needed for AI. And you talked about like they have some kind of partnership with your first stock pick, the pharmaceutical company. So that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then some more data on NVIDIA, since everybody loves NVIDIA, apparently. This company is worth $2.97 trillion. So,
Jesus.
yeah, that's a lot of money in one company.
And chances are it's going to keep growing.
So you hope.
So I hope. You haven't invested yet, so you hope the other way, right?
Well, that's the other thing. So, like, NVIDIA pays a dividend of 0.01%, you know? So I did the math. As long as you hold the stock by X date and you continue to hold the stock on June 28th, I believe that you are looking at a dividend payment of $0 and 0.00084 cents.
So 0.08 of a cent.
3084 of a cent.
Nailed it.
Or actually, no. It'd be, yeah, 0.84 of 1 cent. You're getting less than 1 penny. So you invested real money in this? Yeah, you bought $100 worth of NVIDIA?
Yep.
Yeah, because we're not paper trading this week. I'm curious to see if they actually pay you your fraction of a penny dividend stock. You'll have to keep me updated on that.
I will.
And your anticipated payment date is June 28th, from what I found. Michael is also anticipated to get less than 1 cent of a dividend payment, but it is slightly higher than your less than 1 cent of a dividend payment.
That's rough.
That's rough. So I'm curious on if this actually pays out for you. All right. Anything else you want to add here?
Probably not at this time, no.
Okay. What's your strategy going forward? Are you just going to be picking what everybody else has previously picked, or are you going to bring anything new to the table next time?
I'm not offended by that question because I absolutely plan on checking out some of the other picks that we've seen, some of the ones that are doing well, and possibly investing in them. I do like looking for the lower price shares to jump in on. So if I can either match what somebody else jumped in at or go lower and have that grow for me, that'd be awesome. But if at the end of the day I can't find what I'm looking for, I look elsewhere and I find something new and go from there.
Okay. So you're not afraid to piggyback of the research that other people have done.
Absolutely not.
Okay. Good to know. All right. And then next up we got Faith up in 4th place, which is not last place. The difference between your overall portfolio and last place overall portfolio is $10. So like, I don't think you have anything to sweat about on the overall portfolio just yet, unless Jacob rebounds pretty miraculously here.
I said I just had to beat one of you.
That's a good goal so far.
Ugh.
All
Yep.
right. Yeah, so like, what do you want to share with us about this week's stock pick?
Well, up until I found out my husband was going to do NVIDIA, that was my plan. And if you look at previous podcasts, I did say that was the plan. But also I was watching it and I had messaged you about if I should buy before or after the split, and you said it didn't really matter. And David bought before the split, so I think I might save that one in my back pocket till later, because now I'll buy in after the split, potentially. But also watching the price, getting in under both Mike and David. So, yeah.
Okay. In theory, the value is the same, though. They're just hoping that like the value gets back up to that $1,100 range.
Yeah, but I'm hopeful you're to let I guess I should say like get more shares than they do.
Okay. Okay. I can see that. What is Planeter Technologies? How did you find this? What is it?
This is another one during my deep dive of I don't want to buy NVIDIA, what should I buy? Google search here. And there was a bunch of different companies that had kind of come up, like Snowball and the SMCI that I bought previously. So just kind of looking into all those different companies, kind of wanted to find one that over the last several years has been increasing. This one is newer. It did come about in 2020. And it's been on an increase, but it's dipped and then increased again. So just kind of wanting to play it a little bit. It is on a low. 3 months ago it was dropped, and then it's kind of on the rise again. So that kind of, I look for that. I was hesitant to buy because it only has a 26% buy rate, a 42% hold rate, and a 31% sell rate. But all my other stocks were all buy ratings, and not all of them are doing the greatest. So decided to kind of just throw the dice at this one. But yeah, ultimately their projections have been lower than what they've actually made over the last couple quarters. So that was good. Yeah, I mean, so far everything I've read I've liked except for one shady detail.
What's that?
It says the highly secretive company is controversial as it is an advocate of greater surveillance since it aids in its capabilities. Additionally, its software has been used to identify working illegal immigrants to aid in their deportation. So
Okay.
it's it has a unique product, but no doubt serves various agencies, and government contracts are often very ludicrous. Ultimately, it's a good but a risky long-term addition to anyone's portfolio, but only if you don't mind turning a blind eye to the company's shady dealings.
Okay. So what I heard is Michael went super woke this week, and you decided to go the opposite way and get a little other end of the spectrum extreme, and you're
Cool.
like, let's get rid of these hard-working undocumented
saying
workers through
I'm not
surveillance
saying-
technology and deport them.
I'm not saying that, but I'm not saying I'm not gonna invest in a company that does that.
That's awesome. Is that what this company does? They just work on surveillance technology?
I don't know.
Does anyone know what this
They
company
work
does?
They do with some AI stuff. Again, I feel like I'm on a trend with AI and I kind of want to get off that. But it operates under the commercial and government segments, works with non-government industries, and it provides services is all it really says. So I don't know. I don't know what it entirely does.
You don't know what the company does. You just knew like it might be a little risky.
Yeah, kind of.
Like, what do you know about their government contracts? Because the word government is in here like 3 or 4 times, you know?
I don't.
And government contracts do tend to be lucrative.
Yep. Don't know shit.
Yeah. All right. I think those might be the best kind of government contracts. That
Turning a
sounds like
blind eye,
when David and
remember?
I joined. That sounds like when we all joined the military and we didn't know we didn't know what we were signing. Good old government contracts.
Yep. I'm pretty good at those.
Are you sure you want her investing in this stock on your podcast, buddy? You know, the wrong people are going to look into this. All of a sudden, you lose all of your videos and everything gets taken down.
I'm sorry. It sounds like we have like a cultist fan club, and I'm okay with that. Hi, guys.
I can say that according to the news article I'm reading right now, just like the brief part of it, is that they tried to make it in the elite S&P 500, but they were denied.
Is it because nobody knows what they do?
Let's actually open the link. Let's see.
Okay, specializes in big
Yeah, they
data
shut it down.
analytics, founded in 2003 by Peter Thiel, Nathan Greetings, Joe Lonsdale, Stephen Coven, and Alex Karp. I probably mispronounced that. Primary focus is developing data integration and analysis software for large organizations. Develop counterterrorism analysts at offices in the USIC and the Department of Defense. Is used by numerous government agencies for national security, defense, and law enforcement. That includes the Department of Defense, CIA, FBI, and other intelligence agencies. So they just have like a bunch of like ways to analyze data and technology for that on how to read big data analytics. Interesting. Brief recap here. I picked the YieldMax Universe Fund of Option Income ETF. I'm expecting it to pay dividends a lot, so I'm going to beat your guys' butts. Jacob chose UTI. He chose to get himself a UTI. I'm sorry, 6.812 UTIs. And that has something to do about the education center. He's educating himself about UTI, or UTI is educational. I feel like there's a couple of jokes there. Anything you can come up with off the top of your head, David?
That he's gonna get schooled.
On his UTI transmission?
Yeah.
Okay. You picked NVIDIA with no new information, just that the stock split is coming here. Faith chose Planeter Technologies, super secretive company that does big data analytics, that has interesting government contracts and may help deport undocumented workers. And Michael found a way to invest in a non-American company that owns part of Bud Light during Pride Month. Solid choices by everyone this week with real
Very
money.
solid.
I think that I'm going to
Let's dock the
conclude
ship.
by
Come on.
taking a quick second and explaining that this is a competition with some members of my family. General concept can be summed up as a fantasy football for stocks, where we simulate buying $100 worth of the chosen stock and discuss it as though there is no intention of selling it within a 365-day period for the purposes of this podcast discussion, tracking, and scoring, regardless of actual trading activities. Each week, we will pick a new stock and add it to our respective portfolios. The participant with the lowest overall performance and weakest portfolio at the end of the 52-week long competition agrees to walk through fire or on top of hot coals, provided I can figure out how to do it safely. Full disclosure, we do not know what we're doing, and we've agreed to see what we can learn through a trial by fire. Each of us have different levels of knowledge and understanding of stocks and trading, if any at all. This podcast is not investment advice. This podcast is for learning and to document our competition. Opinions are our own and do not represent the opinions of anyone's employer, past, present, or future. Again, we do not know what we are doing, especially me. I'm not a professional trader, video editor, or social media manager. So if you enjoy this episode or plan on watching more than one episode, I am asking you to invest in us, not with money. I'm asking you to invest in us by hitting that like, follow, and share. If you have any feedback, if you post it in the comments on this on YouTube or Rumble, I plan to read every comment, despite reading somewhere that you should never go into the comment section. With that, thank you for your time and